I won't go too much into Adelaide's rail history, but just a little bit of background. Its first railway was a 12-kilometre long 1600mm gauge line from Adelaide to Port Adelaide that opened in 1856, and it's often claimed to be the first government-owned railway in the British Empire. The network expanded to become a multi-line steam and then diesel-hauled system, radiating from Adelaide Station to the north, west and south of the city. Adelaide also had a surprisingly extensive tramway network, from 1878 as privately owned horse-drawn trams, and then from 1909 onwards as a state government-owned and operated standard gauge electric tram network. Actually, for a while there were two tram networks, with Port Adelaide having its own physically separate network until 1935. Electric trams encountered competition from a plethora of privately owned petrol and diesel buses, and from the early 1950s, those lines were progressively closed and replaced by trolley buses or diesel buses. The majority of the tram network closed by 1958, leaving just one largely off-road line from Adelaide to Glenelg, and the last trolley buses were replaced by diesel buses in 1963, leaving Adelaide served by an extensive diesel bus network, one electric tram line, and a radial railway system operated by diesel rail cars. Things have improved a bit since then, so let's take a look at what's here today. The hub of the system is Adelaide Railway Station, and it's by far the most impressive part of the network. American Railroad Administrator William Webb, formerly of the Texas Central, Katy, and the US Federal Railroad Administration, had been recruited in 1922 to become Commissioner of the South Australian Railways. He transformed the SAR from a neglected 19th century railway into a 20th century American railroad. The centrepiece of his transformation was Adelaide Station, which in 1928 Webb rebuilt as an Antipodean American Union Station, a smaller but still impressive version of New York's Grand Central Station. Until the mid-1980s, there were 13 open-air terminus platforms here. But between 1985 and 1987, a new hotel and convention centre was built above the tracks, and the number of platforms was reduced to the 9 we see today. Today's rail network has 4 trunk lines radiating from Adelaide Station, plus there are 3 shorter branch lines that junction at various points in the suburbs. The 2 longest and busiest of those main lines, plus one of the branch lines, have been electrified in recent years at 25 kilovolts AC, the only broad gauge lines in Australia to have AC electrification, whilst the 2 shorter main lines plus 2 short branch lines are run by diesel multiple unit rail cars. Electric trains first arrived in Adelaide as recently as 2014, when the catenary was energised above the 36-kilometre long double-track line through the south-western suburbs to Seaford and on the short branch line to Tonsley. A fleet of 22 3-car electric multiple unit trains were built for this new electrification. Built by Bombardier in Victoria, these trains, known as A-City trains, draw on Bombardier's successful Perth electric multiple units and on Velocity diesel multiple units in Victoria. They seat 242 passengers and can run at 110 km per hour. They're very reliable and much appreciated by Adelaide train travellers. The electrified line down to Seaford now sees 4 trains per hour on weekdays, with up to 8 per hour in peak hours, and 2 per hour in the evenings and on weekends. The end-to-end journey time between Adelaide and Seaford takes between 40 and 50 minutes depending on the amount of express running.